welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. Today is the opening round of the Athleague, brought to you by Formula.
What's going on, guys? I'm AthleekVG, and today I'm here with the Australian Grand Prix. Now that we're 5 races into this 10-race season, it's nice to look back and see how it all started and how things have changed on track. But right now, I've got two Athleague drivers and fellow F1 commentators to help me with today's coverage.
Hello, I am Tiametmarduk, and it's a pleasure to be here for this commentary.
Yeah, I'm Wrimzy, and it is an absolute pleasure to be here.
And now we'll go off to the qualifying session, brought to you by the man who grabbed pole at his home Grand Prix. Tiametmarduk, off to you.
Alright, so here we are for the qualifying comparison of the Athleague Round 1 here at Melbourne. We've got a comparison between Wrimzy and AthleekVG, and as you can see, Wrimzy had to get around a lap car there as on the approach to turn 1. Athleague taking a little bit more curve there than Wrimzy, but coming up to turn 3 here. They brake pretty much at the same spot there. Wrimzy taking it in first gear, Athleague taking it in second. So a few minor differences to compare over the course of the lap, but it looks fairly close so far between the two drivers. Now coming up to the first sector split, and who's going to be ahead? It looks like it might be Wrimzy. He takes a little bit more curb on the entry to the corner and a little bit more on the exit, but Athleague keeps a little bit more clean. But coming up now to the middle part of the lap, and Athleague has a little bit more curve, so that's going to serve him well at the back end of this lap. But Wrimzy has to get around some lap traffic there. That's a McLaren. It doesn't hold him up too much. Coming up to the middle sector now, and who's going to be ahead? I think it's Wrimzy. He cuts the corner a little bit there, but it doesn't cost him too much time on the bollard there. He's just ahead by a little bit. But coming now to the close of the lap, Wrimzy puts the engine mix down, I think. I'm not too sure there. Brakes fairly well, takes it in third gear. Both drivers in third gear nicely. Now coming through here, you can lose a lot of time if you don't get it right. Wrimzy takes it in fourth gear, Athleague in fifth. Very nice comparison there. Now closing the lap, you want to hit these final two corners very well for the run up to the line, as it can cost you a lot of time if you don't get it right. And it looks like Athleague might have just edged out Wrimzy here on the run to the line. Who's going to be ahead? It's Athleague with a 1:27.011. And he edges out Wrimzy there with Tiametmarduk 1:22.8 on pole there. So I'll hand back to our commentators of Wrimzy and Athleague to start the main race.
And with the session over, Tiametmarduk will take an early points lead, having gained 3 for pole position. Matty G will grab 2, and Leoobot brought up the final qualifying point in third place. I personally felt lucky to run away with 6, but Flight Boy, standing in at Sauber as a reserve, had some issues and will be starting last. But the race is about to begin. The grid girls are running away, and the lights are about to turn red.
Alright, so here we go for the start of the Athleague. Round 1 here in Melbourne. Let's see, it should be an exciting championship, and away we go straight up into fast for our leader here. It looks like a fairly clean start as we get away on the grid. It looks like Athleague's got a bit of a slow start as Hansa gets around him fairly nicely, and we're on board with Wrimzy. Take us through the start here.
Yeah, he is getting pushed out on the grass. Ooh, and he's side by side with Athleague now. And look at the two leaders, Tiametmarduk and Matty G already got a gap down to number 3 Leoobot. And Tiametmarduk pushing maybe Matty G a little bit wide, but he's managing to stay in first, and we've got some massive contact here. A lot of drivers outside the track.
Yeah, quite a crazy start there. We got through turn 1 fine, but by the time we got to the slow hairpin right-hander, there was a little bit of trouble at the start there. But
yeah, and we can see already, look at the gap between Matty G and number 3 there. Already 1.8 seconds.
And now cutting back to Leoobot, who's got Asgerberger right behind him, and Athleague is already up into 6th after getting away fairly badly, but now he's up into 5th now, a double overtake. And a fairly good start for him there.
Yes. I think we have a lot of people pushing a little bit too hard early on, running onto the grass, slowing themselves down, and it just was a matter of staying on track at that time.
Yes,
but it looks like Wrimzy is catching up to me once again.
It's crucial to gain as many positions as you can on the first lap, and that may gonna take him a little bit overhand in the Athleague this time.
Yeah, well, it's good to see that no one has lost their front wings and everyone can carry on for a straight fight. Here we have a replay of Leoobot. Does he outbrake himself? He does. Goes into the gravel, but that's damaged his tyres a little bit. May have to come in for an earlier stop, but he's going side by side there with the Marussia, but he has to concede that spot if he wants to avoid a crash there. But what do you make of... Oh, we got an overtake here, or mistake,
bit of a lock-up on
Look at this. Wrimzy is undercutting Athleague. and gaining how many positions was that? That was at least 3 in my opinion, or from what I
it's
saw at least.
Quite a few there.
Yep.
And we're back on board with Leoobot here on lap 2. Looks to be on his own here. He's got plus 3 laps of fuel, and he's got Eskerberger right behind him in 4th. Strategy-wise, it should be a one-stopper in this race. We're cutting back to Athleague now, and he's going purple on this lap, so the American driver showing some good promise here in the starting
Can't really
laps.
count that.
Yeah, it's lap 2. Everybody's going purple at this stage.
I'd like to think that it was purple.
Yes, that would be if you're not going purple in lap 2, something is wrong. But look at Rims, he's catching Athleague now.
Yeah, catching quite quickly now, and he's running in standard fuel mix, so he could go a little bit faster than that. And once again, he's going purple too, so everyone feeling very good on this second lap. We'll have to wait and see how this shakes out as we skip now to Leoobot, who's still on his own. Wrimzy, what do you make of this so far?
Yeah, I think Leo looks good, but as we can see, the 2 leaders already have a massive gap. That's a few seconds right there, so I don't think Leo has any chance of getting a win this time. Then the 2 in front will have to make some massive contact and destroy each other's races.
Yeah, definitely a 2-horse race. I saw how into turn 3, Tiametmarduk kind of shoved Matty to the outside of the track, and Matty G actually decided to slow down and get behind your rear wing instead of running off into the grass. So good decision on his part, but now I've got Rims pulling up alongside me.
Yes, we have, and we got Sir Lane X, who wants to be in the fight as well. But he's not coming through, and look at Rims, he's up into fast now. Might help him overtake Athleague anytime soon. Not going as quickly on this lap as he did on lap 2, but wow, look at Sir Lane X.
You can see that I'm holding up the pack now and trying to maintain the inside line while Sir Lane X is looking for room to jump in there. But I'm going to not get to the bottom of the track quick enough. He's going to slide to the inside, and I'm going to have to concede that position because he can't go too wide into the next corner.
Yes, that is.
And we have Sir Lane in there, getting a little bit squeezed there by Athleague, but he didn't. He left him just enough room there just to take the corner nicely. But now he's got to hold off the Englishman there, and possibly Athleague's going to get DRS here on Wrimzy, so the battle should be well and truly on again for the next lap.
That will be interesting to see, as Sir Lane X hasn't given up, and Leo is already into turn 1, so it's quite a few seconds between. Look at that. Look at number 4 and number 5. 4.6 seconds already, only lap 4.
Yes, and we can see that Matty G is put in the purple lap as Athleague goes into the gravel. That's not going to hurt his tyre life too well, but ooh, that's not very nice. What were you thinking after that little incident there, Athleague?
I was carrying DRS with me. I was carrying also way too much speed into turn 1. Locked the tires, couldn't make it through the corner, and blew a major opportunity to get back 5th place.
Yes. And the selection process of the Athleague, why don't you talk a little bit about that, Athleague?
Yeah, so we had a couple rounds of applications. Overall, we had 164 people apply for 10 spots on the Athleague grid, and it was really hard to make the decision as to who could race and you know, who wouldn't be able to make it because there were several qualified drivers who weren't able to make it through testing in the final round. And first off, we looked at your driving skills and kind of what assists you like to use. Overall, safety was the most important priority when selecting the drivers, but we wanted to have people that didn't use any assists, and we wanted to make it as competitive and close as possible. But we finally narrowed it down to 15 drivers. So we have a team captain, which is myself and Matty G and a couple of other drivers. So 5 captains, 5 second drivers, and 5 reserve roles, which overall has worked out quite nicely.
Yes, well, speaking of competitive there, Athleague, looks like the battle for the lead here is hotting up quite massively as Tiametmarduk looks like he's getting pretty edgy on Matty. Might pass him in the inside here, gets the move done fairly nicely, and Matty might have another go at him with a full bar of curves, I believe he should have. after conceding DRS.
And it is crucial
yeah.
for Ben to stay ahead of XMattyG, as XMattyG has the prime tires, and he should be slower in these beginning stages of the race, but he's looking pretty good. As we got a replay of Leo overtaking the Marusha, the Danish driver.
Looked like
is it
Asger
an
had the
overtake?
inside, and he wasn't able to get in front of the McLaren before the end of the straight.
Nope.
And we have another replay here of Wrimzy. Not sure what's going to happen here. We'll have to stay on board and wait and see. He goes into first gear a little bit too early there, loses the back end, but he almost concedes a spot to Sir Lane. Will he get DRS? He probably should, so that will cost him in the end here for Wrimzy.
Yes, a easy DRS overtake for Sir Lane X, and he is on the prime tires, so Rims is really struggling now.
Looks like that Lotus has a pretty low ride height, shedding a lot of sparks from behind, but we've got two cars running deep. Sir Lane, and
That
was
was...
that? Was that Asger
I think that Asgerberger, I think, yeah.
Yes, it was. We got Athleague
too-
a replay.
Had to
not
avoid
too
him
sure.
there.
Overtaking Sir
Yeah, I'm
Lane.
not too sure if that was a bubble or anything, but surely they must have been contacted. Both of them went off, so we're cutting to the lead of the race now on lap 6, and it looks like Matty G has DRS on Tiametmarduk. He should go around to the outside of him here, but no, he cuts to the inside and takes the lead there. Fairly simple move there.
Is it a lockup, or is that just the lag, or that is showing a lockup on XMattyG there?
That's just the game. It always shows the other cars having lockups when it's not truly the case. I think whenever someone actually does have a lockup, they don't have a lockup on the other person's screen. So you can work that one out for yourself. So yeah, it looks like Tiametmarduk is going to go for the inside, but he cuts to the outside. But will he get the move stick? I don't think he will, because he has to get around it. But I have to concede that place there and settle back into second for now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tiametmarduk. You race in Australia. We have 3 Scandinavians, 2 Americans in this race, but most of the drivers are in Europe. What is it like as an Australian to race against people in an entirely different part of the world?
Well, it's quite different to racing someone from your own country, because you have to consider the lag. On the F1 2012 game, there's this thing called the lag barrier. So you basically can't get within like a car length of someone into braking zones. Otherwise, you may hit the person off, depending on their or the other person's internet connection. So it's fairly random as to whether you hit them off. So you just have to account for that sometimes, and it can really spoil some good league racing sometimes. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of lag.
We're really trusting of each other here. Did you feel like you could push it with him, or were you trying to, be mindful of the lag barrier?
Oh yeah, you're mindful of the lag barrier, but me and Matty have been racing each other for years, so we know what each other's games are, and we can just trust each other and that sort of thing, that we won't, run each other off the road or that sort of thing. So it's good to have someone like that to race with, but yeah.
So I'm running in 5th place, all by myself at this point. 5.5 seconds in front of me, we've got Wrimzy. Sir Lane X a bit further back. He had an accident earlier. By this point, though, just 6 laps into the race, the field has really thinned out.
Yes, and we only have a 10-man grid, or 9-man grid for this race, which obviously reduces the action a little bit, but is that because of connection, Athlete?
No, we just had one absence, and one driver who was unable to make it, and we couldn't get a reserve role in time to fill the seat. So usually we have our absences covered by our reserve drivers that we've actually drafted, but in this case, if you don't let your driver know in time, he can't make the race. Flying out to Melbourne, it's a lengthy trip, and I wasn't able to get enough time to make the race, and that really hurt the Constructors' Championship, because the Constructors' Championship is important as well as the Drivers' Championship in this league.
Yeah, but
Would you mind explaining that, Athleague? Because the Athleague Championship is actually quite different in that it actually rewards the Constructors' title.
Yeah, so we have some prize money for the World Drivers' Championship, which is $40 for that driver, and then each constructor driver gets $20 as well. So possibly, if you're on the Constructor Championship winning team and you win the overall Drivers Championship, you could run away from the Athleague with $60, which I think, is a nice amount of money. I'm not sure how the American dollar, currency-wise compares to some of the other countries of the people that are racing in this league, but, a nice gift card here and there can help you out with getting a couple games.
Yeah, I can reveal right now that compared to the Scandinavian countries, the dollar is pretty strong at the moment, so it is a little bit more money than it usually is. So we'll see if it's like that in the end of the season.
But if you're Kimi Raikkonen, you could buy a fair few ice creams for that amount of money. So
or vodkas.
That's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to this race. We have Wrimzy here in 4th place on lap 7. We should be thinking about pit stops anytime soon. The tyres normally go around about 10 laps on this on this stint. So looking towards the end of the race, we probably should be going on to the primes, and the primes should hold out fairly well as Wrimzy has disconnected there. Would you mind telling us what happened?
Wow. What happened really is that my Xbox started screwing over and the internet cable jumped out for some reason, and God, I was pissed. Jeez.
I've had that happen to me a couple times in league races when I was racing in Formula Xbox, and it just made you realize how sacred your race or your life is in a way, because it could just disappear in an instant.
Yeah.
With the blink of an eye, and you have no idea that it's coming. But we have Tiametmarduk battling back here as Matty G had a very slow run out of the high-speed corner.
That's a brilliant
must have been fuel saving there.
Yeah.
Because
did you run with aggressive fuel strategy, or were you cautious?
I ran with cautious. I normally go with a heavier fuel load over the course of these longer races because you can run in fast for the majority of these races. So by running in fast, you running like a second a lap faster, and I think that's a greater benefit than having a lighter car, in my opinion. But for some tracks it works, for others it's not so good. But we got Matty G here taking the lead back. And
Leobot's
here we go with
tires
Leoobot.
are looking pretty worn, and he's trying to figure out if he has enough fuel to finish the race, which he does, 4 extra laps, where he can use that rich mix. But he's probably thinking about when he should come in for a new set of tires as well.
Yep, so it should be any time now. If you get caught up in traffic, then you definitely need to pit, because getting caught up in traffic and being on old tires can lose you an awesome amount of time, so it can also ruin your race. So expect the pit stops to be happening anytime soon, as we've got Athleague here going fairly well in position 4. He's only a smidgen away from getting a podium, but now we've got Tiametmarduk here trying an overtake on Matty G. He's got the DRS open. Is he going to go for it? You have to brake early. Just make sure that you don't take him off. And a fairly clean overtake. Well, not an overtake there, but a clearly decent run through there.
Yeah, he got a shot at the lead again with the second dose of DRS. And Matty G actually running him near the edge of the track, and he is making that track as wide as possible. But Tiametmarduk flipping up to the standard mix. And were you ever low on fuel at a point? Did you have to dial it back?
Well, no, I was pretty pretty aware of where I could run fast and where I could run lean and stuff. I was pretty efficient with my fuel usage, so it was never really a problem. So it was fairly easy in that respect. I've still got 4 laps of fuel up my sleeve. But Wrimzy, do you want to take us through the pit stop here?
Yes, we have Tiametmarduk in the pit stop. Can we have less than 3 seconds? No, we don't. We have just 3 seconds, I'd say, on this one, which is pretty good. He didn't lose too much time there. 3 seconds is pretty standard, and we got Leo overtaking him on the pit exit here.
And were you concerned at all about Leo jumping in front of you? Or were you specifically trying to get new tires before Matty did?
Yeah, I had to get new tyres before Matty did, because Matt started on the prime tyres and I was on the options. But when I do have to admit, when I seen Leoobot coming ahead of me, I was a bit scared. But he rejoined 5 seconds in front, so I was hopeful that he wouldn't hold me up too much as he comes in for his pit stop now. Let's see where he reshuffles in the field for his pit stop. He goes to the prime tyres. How long is the pit stop? 3.0 seconds is pretty even with Tiametmarduk there. and a fairly solid stop. So where's he going to rejoin? Should he get in front of Athleague or not? We'll have to wait and see on this one.
Maybe Athleague decides to go into the pits. Yes, he does. And he's going to the lean mix, and hopefully Caterham can provide him as a good pit stop as they did with his teammate Tiametmarduk. We will see about that. Going to the lean mix just to save a little bit of extra fuel in the pits. Going on to the prime tires, we have a 3.03003 actually. So
pretty consistent.
Yeah, that's pretty consistent from the Caterhams, I'd say. We have 13 seconds up to the next position there for Athleague.
I just noticed that you are a little bit lower on fuel there, Athleague. Did you run a different strategy? Did you run the aggressive one there?
I believe I went with cautious. Either way, it was that or normal. But I still had one extra lap of rich mix, and I think I burned up a lot trying to hold off Wrimzy early on when I didn't really need to because he eventually got disconnected. But looking here, we've got Leoobot running into the grass. That's going to slow him down a bit, and Tiametmarduk looking for a way around. He doesn't want to be held up, and he'll slide back into second place.
Yeah, is that the kind of lag you're talking about, Tiametmarduk, when you're racing with European drivers?
Yeah, that's actually quite weird as we see Leoobot going off again. On my screen, I didn't even hit him. I got around cleanly, but on his screen, I barged him. So that was actually quite weird. I've never seen that since 2011, but yeah, that's very odd. And we're back on board with Athleague. Oh no, he's lost it. And
it's a good thing that I ghosted right before Tiametmarduk came by, or he would have slammed right into me, and that would have been the end of possibly both of our races.
Yeah, that could.
Oh yes, our team and our team principal, is it Gary Fernandez or someone like that? I should know my team principal.
Tony Fernandez.
Tony Fernandez. I'm sorry, Tony. He would have been absolutely raging.
Yeah, some airline.
Ooh, Tiametmarduk going into the gravel, spinning a little bit. And is that Xmat? No, it's not Xmat.
That's Asgard.
Yep.
That's a very bad mistake to make with only 3 laps left in this race. I wonder how far Matty is behind me now.
He is 7.6 seconds. I can update you on that. So he's got a fair gap, but he's got to keep the pace up to make sure that he wins this race.
Yes, he'll obviously catch up a lot more after that mistake. It should refresh itself after we cross the line here. Yeah, I'm going up to fast just to cover myself from Matty. I think he's just there on the straight, so fairly close one to round out this race here.
Yep. And we're on board with Tiametmarduk again. 1.1 second now to Xmatty, so he has lost quite a bit. But Xmatty is on the softer tire, as we know.
And just on the border with fuel as well. He was down 1 lap and brought it right back to optimal for the final sector of the race. So it looked like you were going to win the first race of the Athleague. How do you feel about that?
I was very, very nervous in these final few corners. I just wanted to get it over the line without running out of fuel. I've also chipped off my wing from that incident, but here we go for the finish. You want to take us through it?
Oh, you're down a lap right before the line.
You've got the curse to help you out, so you will just make it. And
looking for a podium. It looks like he should be able to secure that as well.
That is a strong start with a podium in the first race for the
so
McLaren.
The qualifying, the podium was the exact same as the race podium, and at this point, sitting in 6th, 7th, I think I was probably 1 lap ahead of Hamza. I decided to just bring it in 4th gear. I'm not too concerned about how I finished the race. So I walked away from Australia pretty dejected. Tiametmarduk drives away with his first win of the season. Matty G only 7/10 behind the leader, but still disappointed to not get that first win. But 10 points on top of the 3 gained in qualifying. Tiametmarduk doing quite well for Caterham. 13 points on his own. AthleagueVG getting 3 as well to make it 16. Rims being disconnected and out of the points. Not the best start to his season. And the entire grid outside of the podium managed to be at least 1 lap down. So we've got some very dominant drivers early on this season, but we'll see if that order will be shuffled up with time. But moving on to the Constructors' Championship, it looks like Caterham and Sauber are the favorites. And that rivalry will progress with time. But I want to thank my co-commentators for helping me out with today's video. Gotta give a shout out to Rims and Tiametmarduk. Links to their channel are down in the description, as well as annotations to their channel up on the video page. So go check that out, and I'll let them say their final farewells.
I want to say thank you for having me here for round 1 of the Athleague. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an awesome race, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for having me, Athleague. It's been a real pleasure, and I'm looking forward to the next race.
That wraps up today's coverage of the Athleague. For updated standings, check out the homepage on the formulae.blogspot.com. You can find us on Twitter at TheAthleague. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again next weekend. So until next time, well, I'll let him take it from here.
Athleague out.